Lama control san la hyang sa lo, do yen sem tien tam che je chen je la pan zet to so. So son du nga chin da che jin chen. Nyal so me pon hiwa je la so, sem tien tuen de nyer de don che na. Tamba nam jin yun ta tsar de so. Good morning, according the Belgium times. And at the same time is I want to ask to you, please, to generate bodhicitta, which is think about the situation of sentient beings. And we are studying now about principally Buddha's teaching and emphasize the Mantrayana teaching. And in the Mantrayana teachings, also we are focused on great perfections. And the great perfections, of course, it is a preliminary aspect and the main aspect and conclusions. And they are kind of in order to receive the actual teaching of the great perfections, and there are some preparation course. It's called the preliminary practice, and that is we are studying. And preliminary practice is to be kind of to make the ready in order to receive main teaching. And maybe may we think why I'm not ready for the receive the teaching of the great perfections, why I need to do some preparations. I mean, this is according to the causalities, it's according to the reality. In the relative perspective, any kind of relatives occur. There are some in the preliminary part, main and conclusions. And that is like realities. And of course, according to our Buddha natures, maybe we are, surely it is suitable, contain or suitable receptacle contain in order to pour in and this contain the great nita of great perfection teaching. But there are something untalkable things happened, and according to Buddha natures, according to realities, when we look at the very carefully, and there are kind of the two situations, positive situation and the negative situations. Of course, in the perspective of the Buddha natures, maybe both is equanimity. But if we do not understand the nature of the Buddha nature, realities, and these two different way of like completely a little bit different, and according to these two way of the two situations, we receive some completely different feeling. And one is like we call the feeling of the sufferings. One is the feeling of the happiness. And this kind of occurring until we realize that our own potential of the Buddha nature, we alternately received these two situations, and also we're experiencing these two situations. And in this perspective, there is something, the cause of the sufferings, and the cause of the sufferings is a kind of to making kind of problems, and it's like it's making like a not really suitable contain our body, speech, mind in order to receive the nectar of the great perfections. And also the cause of the sufferings. And when it start, we don't know yet, absolutely. But since it start, enter now, it's a kind of the make dirty contain of our body, speech, mind very much. And we need to a little bit clean up. And it doesn't matter we are long time is like embarked this cause of the sufferings, or maybe we are like shortly in this life in the part of our like beginning of the life since we born enter right now, also how much we embarked or undertake the cause of the sufferings, which is the disturbing emotion and the activity of the disturbing emotions. It can make contaminate and deteriorations about the body, speech, mind. In order to a little bit to clean up and this deterioration or the like kind of contaminate, we need, of course, for the preliminary practice. And for instance, like to study perfectly our contain of the body, speech, mind related to the human existence. And also we need to quickly to clean up and to use this contain in the human as contain of the body, speech, mind. And because this human body of the contain at the moment in our hand, we can to use at the moment it's belong our own position, our own belonging, and it be belonging in ourselves. We need to use properly. It is not forever our belonging. It is very easily to lose. Someone's taking or we lose him. We will lose. That is the sure. And when we will lose, we don't know. Maybe it's like a short or longer or more longer. But in our generations, longer is the 100 years. More than that, it's almost it's like impossible. Even if we keep more than the 100 years, this contain is not very useful. Maybe contain is difficult to holding any the nectar of the great perfection, because it's like then is our contain after the maybe hundreds, something is leaking, broken, and it's not really suitable, and like a kind of the very old exhausted teapot. Everywhere is a hole. It's impossible to cook the tea. Like this, until we can to say this is the posthumous. It's like kind of the estimate our lifestyle standard. But also in our life is not certainties. We obviously we can to see someone's like just born, they died, maybe a few months after, maybe a few years, maybe a few decades, maybe it's like kind of the middle age, like semi age. It's almost like like kind of the 70-80% is going. And this is like these situations we need to think about the permanence, and also to need to quickly to clean. And also after the impermanent we understood according the causalities, wherever we reborn next life, if we do not understand our own potential of the nature realities, and in samsara there is not very much comfortable, peace, cool, and without sufferings. It's obvious. Of course, sometimes it's a human mind. It's a very strange, of course, mind is. And we think just, oh, I'm just thinking about only this life. What do you mean this life? Just mean this life mean you in this moment, or this hours, or these days, or this week, or this month, or this year? What do you mean in thinking about this life? But you mean it's like this life, and do we have on the past life? Do we have in the future? You cannot accept. I don't know. It's like. Then you don't know that you are come from the yesterday. Do you know the yesterday where you was, what you did? You have imagined when you were yesterday. Also, you have same as situation is today. We can to say it's like yesterday like this. Just to imagine. And today we are looks like realities, but yesterday also we experience. And then it's like we can take example today. Surely, according to today, we will go to tomorrow. And then we don't think about tomorrow. It is very stupid. Absolutely. This is the realities. It is like a past, present, futures in the relatives. As I said, it's like if we do not realize that the nature of the realities, and we are needed to kind of the deal with this white and the black. Sometimes we call the Yamantaka of the times. The meaning of the Yamantaka time means time is not form or some sentient beings, but time is eating our life, time is eating our body, time is eating our verb, time is eating everything. But the time hasn't got mouth, time hasn't got stomach, time don't need to any toilet areas. The but eating everything, whatever existence. Therefore, and also it itself has the true truth, only true truth. Black, one is black, one is the white. It's eating every day everything, even our life. And therefore, it is like kind of the time is, there is, in the according the confusion perspective, and we do not realize the nature of the realities, and then we like all the times in the middle of this fang. It is the black fang and the white fang, and all the time is batting. And therefore, for example, maybe someone thinks it's yesterday how much is the beautiful, warm, and everything was fantastic. It's a gun. Who ate it? And times ate it. It's a gun. Yesterday white teeth, and last night's black teeth. And these two teeth eating everything. Every day they chewing. And to think about that, and then we need to quickly clean up our body, speech, mind, and we need to receive quickly the nectar of the great perfections. And therefore we are like kind of to study the preliminary aspect. Of course, according to this book, there's two kind of preliminary aspect. One is a common preliminary practice. One is the uncommon preliminary practice. We are in the common preliminary practice. Common means it doesn't matter Sutayana or the Mantrayana or the like kind of the Mahayana or Vajrayana. It doesn't matter. It's needed. It's the first time is to make the soft body, speech, mind. And first is like a common preliminary practice, kind of the to make the suitable, relevant, and is to be ready, like a body, speech, mind, in order to receive the teachings. And of course, the on a common preliminary practice, this one is like is based like a kind of the main practice, and it's very much kind of the actually it's like we are like a clean and like this. For example, we can to say it's like when you have maybe like a dirty cups, and first time it's like a common preliminary practice means you thinking about this cup. Maybe this cup is made the very special jewel, extreme good cup, but someone's or maybe yourself or there is a very dirty, contaminated, and someone says you should to clean up. If you clean, this contain is very good, and also this contain you taking care of them is very fragile, and after this contain is like to broken, finish it, maybe difficult to get again. And therefore now you have that to clean up and to receive your delicious, really like kind of the umbricious or the like nectar food of the main teachings. And then you as like kind of the preparing, maybe contain or the bowl or the cup, and to be in the sink, and you like preparing the wash like washing powders, and then you are almost turning on this tap water, and then suddenly you turn, water is coming, and then you are moving your hand, and these things is like an extraordinary uncommon preliminary practice, like kind of the start refugee prayer, bodhicitta, vajrasattva, so on. Then is afterwards, of course, your kitchen towers is to clean up, everything's ready, and maybe you want to use the chopstick or forks, knife and the spoons, and then maybe you go to in the table, and then there's one service, very nice service is coming to say which one would you like to use, which part of course. Then there is like they carry how to service carrying the like a beautiful ways, and some in the put inside the substantials, and says like we want to offer to you delicious nita food of the great perfections, and you put on your front of the tables your contain of the cup or the bowls or the pellets is clean, shine out, absolutely you done perfect, and then they pour into your cup or pellets, and then you need to eat it, and maybe this service to give you offered to you this food and put it in the table, but you just look, you don't eat, also maybe it's not very good, but that is like maybe it's like you already made yourself appetize, like in order to eat this delicious food, and it's like maybe it itself has a little bit different smells, but it's like kind of someone's maybe receive not really prepared and contain, and when is the nectar pulling into this cup or the pellets, maybe something strange smell is coming, and maybe from the nectar, maybe from the like the contaminated dirty this kind of, and say what it is, I don't know. That is the unfortunate, and they cannot eat. Very difficult. But maybe if you are prepared, everything is, maybe you is like kind of the received all the information of the qualities of the delicious food, which is the great perfections. Really, it is like they're pulling these servers, pulling into your cup or on the pellet. The smell is coming. Wow, you have the determined mind, want to eat it, and you are like kind of like eager, belonging. Like how to say longing is like a kind of food to want to eat it. And when you eat 100%, there's the process of the your like a kind of filling up the stomach, and there is such a kind of the how do you say, it's like a demolishing or the scattered or like a kind of dispelling your hunger, and then certainly it's like you are completely full, and like same as the we can to say is full stop. It is like punctuation of the full stop. This means full means your stomach is completely full, and all like kind of the good things is coming to. One is like this nectar food of the great perfections coming into your stomach of the mind, and the stomach of the mind is become the cool, peace, and relaxed, so extraordinary experience. And then it's like there is like almost even the kind of other like kind of sicknesses also disappeared, and also the stopped absolutely. You are no more any hungry, or it's like angry, or any kind of the lack of desire attachment or the confusions, and there's nothing kind of the related to the kind of the craving, and like kind of the clingings completely disappeared, and it's you become the extraordinary happy, and it's like your mind is that moment, nothing expectations, nothing kind of want to mere achievement. Your achievement is extraordinary. Like this therefore we are studying the preliminary practice, and also this preliminary practice, there's the sixth chapter, that you know that we are on the chapter of the five. It is quite a big chapter, very much a longer chapter. I don't know where at this time is finished or not. Probably we need to extend it a few days, but I'm really not sure this time is our schedule is, because some is like our sanghas, like some our boss, our organizations, they also want to study very much Dharma. They organizing about our great master to other Lopans, and to Lopans, Lopan Shambhala, and Lopan Onkembo Zeringombok. These two also they preparing. And in this case, probably ourselves to be on timers, not necessarily to be lazy. And of course, this chapter is quite very big, but maybe you can see ending is too fast, probably. And we can go, and I think we are going to finish it tomorrow, yes? Tomorrow, yes? Normally our schedule, tomorrow is the 2 weeks. Yes? Okay. Yeah, I think if we can finish it tomorrow, we will see tomorrow. And like this, but anyway, now I say we're talking about the liberation, and during this whole this longer like chapters, this talking about the liberation and the benefit, and also it's like who is searching, who is like kind of the really like put effort for the liberations, and also how many there is the liberation path. Maybe it is that is the single liberation path. It is of course Buddha's path, but according the followers, And according the followers, there is different approaches. And it's like there's like principally we have three disciples, like Shavaka, Pachika Buddha, and Bodhisattvas. And also it's like in the Bodhisattvas, we are like kind of the divided, like kind of the like Bodhisattva and the great like kind of Bodhisattvas. And according that, there is, we can to say, the path, Mahayana's path, and the Mantrayana's path. Then there are the Hinayana, Mahayana, and Mantrayanas. According these three yanas, we have divided, like then there are 9 yanas. And this 9 yana and the follower of the 9 yana, approach of the 9 yanas, how they can to approach us, we already studied. Each kind of beginning the Shavakas, how they approach to the liberation path. Entry point, view, meditation, conduct, and the result. And the same as the Shavaka, and also it's the Bodhisattva, according to Sutta perspective, and also inside the Chittamita, Madhyamikas. And then is we enter into the like kind of the Tantrayanas, Mantrayanas, and outer like the Mantrayanas of the Triya, Charya, and the Yoga Tantras, how they approach to the liberation path. And then it's like already we studied the inner 3 tantras. It's the Mahayoga, Ani Yoga, and we are going to today a little bit to study about the Ati Yogas. And Ati Yogas, it's yesterday we finished the like kind of the Ani Yoga, and according to this 9 last the vehicle Ati Yoga of the pit instruction Ati Yoga. We study, we say it's like the Tenta Yoga. Tenta Yoga. It's like in the Tenta Yoga of the Mahayoga. And the scriptural transformation of the Ani Yoga. Here is the pit instruction Ati Yoga. Jit long Mengaksons. That is the most important in the future. The pit instruction Ati Yogas. For example, the Tenta Yoga of the Mahayoga, and the what is say the transformation long Ani Yoga is like how do you say transformation? Yes, I think, scripture transformation of the Ani Yoga and the pit instruction Ati Yoga. Pit instructions Ati Yogas. Of course, this is if you can to divide it, it is like pit instruction Ati Yoga. It is like also it's like there's a 3 class, outer class, inner class, or you can to say the space class, and the mind class, and the pit instruction class. And the pit instruction class, you can to divide the like kind of the 3 and the 4. Inner, like outer, inner, secret, very secret. This pit instruction class. And then this the great perfection is the pit instructions, like a kind of the inner, this pit instruction class. And very secret kind of the great perfections that you came to. There's maybe just, can you look a little bit? Maybe if you want to look at the more, I think it's the Kembongan Pelzon, the notes of the word of my perfect teacher. There is the kind of the how the deviation you can to look. I think in the part of the a refugee explanation, the chapter of the refugee, and particularly is talking about the Dharma. And you can to look at theirs, maybe a little classification. Maybe you not necessarily now, but maybe later. Maybe if we are not attacked or impact the impermanent, probably we will to study. But like this, then it's like the Ati Yoga's general view is how it is. He said that the vehicle of the Ati Yogas, and like kind of the outmost yoga, and like kind of the most peak yoga and top of the yoga, and like really the highest yoga. It's so called because it is the highest of all the weakers. It involves the realization that all phenomena are nothing other than the appearances of the naturally arising primordial wisdom, which has always been beyond arising and ceasing. And this is like a naturally arising primordial wisdom. And naturally arousing primordial wisdom, self-arousing, naturally arousing, without cause, without condition. And therefore we sometimes call the causeless, conditionless. Therefore we call the naturally arousing. It is a primordial wisdom. That is our beginners. Before there is a these wisdoms, the natural, this one, there's a kind of how you can to call. You cannot call the Buddha, you cannot call to the sentient beings, you cannot call the samsara, you cannot call the nirvanas. And that is the like kind of the primordial, inherent in the beginning. Then it's like a naturally arousing primordial wisdom means it is penetrate, transparent, lucidity, extraordinary. It's naturally theirs. Nobody's created. It itself like kind of arousing. And this is like kind of involvement or the realizations. It's a phenomena are the samsara's phenomena and nirvana's phenomena. There's the kind of the dualistic perspective. There's two kind of the phenomena. Reality, they are nothing other than the appearances of the nature arousing primordial wisdoms. And we come to say is like these appearances are the primordial wisdom. Primordial wisdom is appearances. The appearances is not different the primordial wisdom. Primordial wisdom is not different the appearances. And that is we understood. Maybe then in this perspective, there is no need to something arousing, no need to something seizing. That means it's go beyond the birth, old age, sickness, death. And that is the nature of the primordial wisdoms. That is the feature, like a kind of the shape, or it's like the reality of the primordial wisdom is like circumstance. They like this. That is, of course, there is more details. It's wonderful how it is. Here is the most important. It is appearances. All the phenomena means appearances. And also it's like all phenomena means perception or the appearances, or like the perceiver of the mind or the perceived things of the appearances. There are not different than the primordial wisdoms. Primordial wisdom is your body, your speech, your mind, your appearances. There is nothing kind of truly existence without the primordial wisdom. Therefore, primordial wisdom is the most important, and maybe it's like a penetrate teaching or the direct teachings. Maybe you can to look. I think it's the third Shedas. Watch this the line roar of the by the Jigme Limbas. It's a wonderful that you can to memorize, to look at. And what it means is like sometimes we never meditate on the natural arousing primordial wisdoms. We all that like a ugly exaggeration patch on it, and then if we are looking, and we think we are truly looking truth of the natural realities, but we are like kind of the put a big patch or like something cover over it, and the natural arousing primordial wisdoms, and we think that is really primordial wisdom. Say, like a kind of the you says the primordial wisdom is a indivisibility, like kind of like a indivisible or indivisible of the particles. Are you sure? I'm not sure. And sometimes it says like the primordial wisdom is really luminosities, and some is like says the primordial wisdom is emptiness. Are you sure? And primordial wisdom is appearances. Primordial is the perceiver of the mind. What is the primordial wisdoms? If you something to say, and that is the patch. And therefore, even the Abhisamaya Lonkaras truly look at the truth. That times you don't need to abandon, adopt it. Like a kind of the best training without the training. Best meditation is without meditations. What do you need to meditate? Like here is the go beyond the arousing and the seizing. Like this. But maybe it's like, it's like saying something stupid things. Maybe go to next. The following is the brief explanation of the entry point, view, meditation, conduct, and result of this vehicle of the Ati Yogas. It is the wonderful, absolutely wonderful, very simple. Look, it's like the one's mind is matured. This is like kind of the true the full the expressive like a coffee says. Power of the awareness, empowerment, and the ripetsalmos. This is the extreme power of the awareness is empowerment, and like a kind of you can to say it's like the keep of the Samaya as the explained in this text. The four, it is like this is like maybe it's very easily to introduce the like your body, verb, mind, and then last the fourth one is the precious empowerment of the word, and these four empowerments it is called the Rikpitsang. There's like kind of course details. And this kind of the making the maturation, like make the seed in our mind streams, all the kayas and the wisdoms, everything that. Okay, maybe this is enough. You understand, fantastic. And also it's like a second, the view is, and the view also is quite easy. Is the like the determinedly establish by the looking directly into the naturally arousing wisdom, in which the three kayas are the inseparables, the empty essence of the naked awareness beyond the ordinary mind. It's the Dharmakaya, it is the cognizant nature, is the Sambhogakaya, and this is all the pervasive, compassionate energy is the Nirmanikaya. Like this is the like kind of when you are looking direct into the naturally arousing wisdoms, and there is nothing kind of the converted, nothing kind of added, and choose to really truly look at the truth itself. That is, you are looking direct into the natural, naked, and it's like unchanged, nothing said. Maybe sometime you say the look at the originals, ordinaries, and it's like kind of the present moment. That is the fresh and naked and naturalism. This is kind of the representative of the three kayas. Sometimes tikayas. Trikayas, have you heard? Tikayas. You can't say tikayas. Tripitakas is also tikayas. Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Namanikayas, tikayas. And also it is like sometime in the Pardo, like prayers in the Karmalimba says like, now is you are the Pardo of the birth. You should to take the path of the three kayas. Then sometimes, what do you mean that? That means it's like a kind of the meditate on the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Namanikaya. What do you mean? That means is you're looking directly into the natural arousing wisdoms. That moment, what are you looking to this one? It's like kind of the completely, vividly, there's like kind of the no substantial reality of you can to see. That is the like kind of the like go beyond the any kind of elaborations. And that one is like a representative of the Dharmakaya. Same time as there the such energies. It is said like kind of the energy, like that is like a cognizant, or the nature is the, you can treat the energy means there is like kind of movement, and then it's like a, maybe this is like kind of, you can treat the Sambhogakaya. What does the movement say? When you look at the fire, you look at the earth, you look at the wind, you look at yourself, you look at the others. And if you can choose to look, example, I'm looking at the camera. And the camera itself, it is the penetrate, it's lucidity. There's nothing kind of substantially existence. But camera itself, there is something appearing. Camera itself has varieties of the functionalities. And that one is like there is a something form. And that is that maybe symbolic of the Sambhogakayas. And the same time is these cameras can record. There is the pervasive activities. That is the more excellent activity of the Namakayas representative. And then is in this perspective, and all the phenomena and everything is like kind of the inseparability of the three kayas. And also it's like you looking, say here is that you're looking direct into the natural arousing wisdoms, and you are look at the face of your this natural arousing wisdoms, and the naturally arousing primordial wisdoms. That is, then you don't need to any logicals, you don't need to any kind of syllogisms, you don't need to say this and that. You look at it's just the naked awareness beyond the ordinary mind. What does it mean? Ordinary means conceptual mind. Ordinary means is like there is two kind of the meanings. Ordinary, one is ordinary original mind. One is ordinary mind. It is like very confused, full of the disturbing emotions, and this is like contaminated that one. But it here is like kind of the ordinary. Go beyond ordinary means is like normal mind. And when you look at the direct into the natural arousing, the ordinary mind, if you say like this, and then it's like And this is like a really original mind, and you don't need to kind of the remove something. You don't need to add it any, and like this very one simply to says and to maintain in this just present this fresh mind. Maybe it is okay, and then is like meditations how it is goes, and there is this meditation consists of the approach of the cutting through. That is the most view. Resistance to the primordial purity. Primordial purity, sometimes alpha purity, is a wonderful primordial purity in Tibet, Kadak. And also it's like you can choose Kadak or the teacher, and the Kadak, and this Kadak means it's like a primordial purity. Teacher means it's like kind of the cutting through. And Kadak and the teacher means is the primordial purities, and the teacher means it's like you maintain to look at the direct nakedly the view of the primordial purities, and that time as you cutting everything, so any kind of disturbed emotions. Maybe it's like a kind of you don't need to struggle a long time, as just 1 picosecond cut it, scattered everything is disturbing emotions, obscurations, everything. Therefore this view the primordial purity is like kind of most sharp laser of the knife for the disturbing emotions. Therefore we call the texture means like cutting like through, through which the lazy can reach liberation without effort. Of course we can to say it's like meditate on the primordial purity. It is beginning say looking is like a, it says that the looking directly into the naturally arousing wisdoms, and that is like a the we say it's like a primordial purities. That is the laziness. You don't need to take any vows, you don't need to do any other things. There is nothing to kind of the recitations, nothing kind of the discipline. Maybe it's like kind of go beyond the, it's like kind of tripitakas, go beyond the training high realizations, and it's like a single things included three kind of the sculptures roles and the three trainings, everything is included that, and looks like very lazy doing nothing but done everything. And like this sometimes says like even you not recite single money or single mantras, single prayers, single almost meditations, but you'll be enlightenment. Very bizarre. Of course there are some many argumentations. Each argumentations comes from the primordial purities. That is the like kind of lazy can reach the liberation without effort. Very easy, but this is not really easy, not really kind of without effort. Of course we need effort. Of course is this sort of the situations, maybe according the teacher, maybe also according the student, maybe there is some both side fantastic suitable content, suitable qualities, and also it's like such great qualifiers like a master or the service, and the perfect fortunates. Probably then they are lazy. For example, in we can to say it's like Garbdorje, and it's Tomofam Gombo in Tibet. There's 80 years one guy, he made the Berochana just like one few minutes, and Berochanas he's like a stick to put in this old guy's in the heart, and he just introduced this like a kind of naked primordial wisdoms, and he immediately be enlightenment. We have his like pit instructions. This old guy never meditated, maybe never recited something. But this kind of the laziness can reach liberation without effort. Liberation. Wow, wonderful. Of course, there's many kind of the his stories. It is true. Mind is inconceivable. One moment is like this kind of happened. When it's like we become the enlightenment, you put long time, put effort, or maybe it's like one moment. And it's like kind of like one moment we realize that our own these primordial purities, and then that is the end. Then it's like you effort or not effort. The approach of the direct realization of the spontaneous presence, and is the Landup and the Toggles. Landup, Gadak and Landup sage. Landup means spontaneous present. It is the realities. As I said, the primordial purities itself as something. It's like kind of nature qualities. For example, we can to say fire. It is fire. It is inside this quality of the heat. Water, there's qualities of the wheat. This sort of the primordial purities is naturally there is the qualities of the spontaneous present. And the toggle means, for example, we can to say kadak is that this object what we are like kind of the focus, the really the feature of the primordial purities. And the Landup is the qualities of the primordial purities. And also it's like the meaning of the techut is like meditations. Are you practice techuts? Yeah, you. That means you are maintained on the primordial purities. And that moment it is like maybe if you a little bit cannot to maintain, then there is the toggles. Toggle is the meditation of the leap over, means you direct. There is a kind of the full experience of the like appearances, direct appearances, and also it's like increase like kind of the appearances, fully kind of the appearances, and then it's like exhaustion of the appearances. Like kind of the toggle means is like some you kind of the using the sum is like tools. It's direct to look at this primordial purities, and therefore it's like you call the toga is leap over, through which this diligent can reach liberation with the exertions. Maybe it is like kind of the toggle meditations rely on your body. There's like three kayas postures, and of course the eyes gazing is like three kayas gazing, and of course it's like inner minders. There's a very special leap over, means it's like kind of the looking direct at itself. It's like kind of primordial purities, and then it's like of course there's a little bit you have need to effort. This is diligent perspective, and the techu meditator is like kind of the lazy, and the toggle meditator is the very diligent, and like this. Probably we are in the coffee timers. Yeah.